world where mental health matters. Through Food for Thought, we aim to create awareness and empower individuals to take charge of their mental well-being. Join us as we delve into the complexities of mental health and navigate the path towards healing and resilience. Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.
We are beginning a brand new series today. We want to talk about parenting and the effect of parenting on mental health. Is there a connection between the two? What are some common mental health issues that parents have because of parenting? Professor Ndetei, thank you for welcoming us again to your office.
My pleasure.
We appreciate.
Yes.
Is there a connection between parenting and mental health?
Absolutely. Lots and lots of connections. And I think it's a good idea that family TV is addressing the issue of the family.
Yeah.
Because the family is really the very basic institution in any society.
True.
And what goes on in the family has got repercussions that can last for many, many years in the children that are being brought up. So when we start talking about mental health in families, we are basically talking about the mental health of the children, because for some mental health issues, the children have no control over it. I mean, they just happen to have it. The parents can also have mental health issues, and it can cause very many problems. And sometimes it's not that the parents or the children have a mental health issues, but the relationship between them can generate mental health issues. So it can start with individuals, it can start with the relationships between the various members in that family. And they have so many possibilities and channels of different family dynamics and leading to mental health. It's such a huge area. I don't think we can even cover it, even if we spend the whole of the day talking about it. Okay. But I think we should be able to touch on the main ones. Yep.
Okay. Does the pressure of parenting sometimes lead parents into developing mental health issues? And if yes, what are some of the common mental health issues that present because of that pressure?
I think you are basically talking about mental health issues in the family, where you're asking the question, are these mental health issues, say in the parents, are they caused by the children? Or is it the mental health issues in the parent that is causing the problems? And those are very different. I think more often than not, and from the way I have seen here, is mental health issues arising primarily in the individual for various reasons. These may be genetic, maybe biological, maybe medical, maybe things that they inherited from their own families, dynamics from their own families, now them bringing them into their own families, leading to problems within the family. So it's like the primary problem is apparent. Can be the primary problem is, I've just said, are the children. Or it can be both of them. It can be just the way people interact within that family.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, when it comes to if it's the parent who has a mental health issue and they don't know, how does that change the dynamics in the family? Because sometimes you think it's just their character. Anakuwaga tu hivyo. But you don't realize they have a mental health issue. So how does that change the dynamics in the family? It changes especially if it's the father.
It changes dynamics so much. And then if they don't know what is happening, the children will say, we have a terrible dad, good for nothing dad. He doesn't care for us. He doesn't care for mom. He's always fighting, he's always quarreling, he's always doing all these kind of things. So they think that they do it out of the wish to do so, not knowing that they are dealing with a sick person whom they need to take to hospital to see a doctor or to go for counseling. So I really don't know how we can overcome that problem. The only way we can overcome that problem is for us to talk about mental health and create awareness so that people, when they see certain behaviors, they don't just blame the person, they blame the illness, and then what they should do is take that person to hospital. Of course, there will be challenges because somebody, if they are very sick and they don't know they are sick, they will say, I am not going to. I am not good. What's the matter with me? There's nothing that matter with me. I know if they are paranoid or if they are hearing voices. I'm hearing those people, they want to threaten, they are threatening you. And now when I want to protect you, you imply I am mad. Because that's the way they understand it. I am not going to hospital. And they just get stuck there. And
I think it strains relationships because I remember my late father-in-law. At one point he started saying, somebody wants to kill him, there's a certain smell in the house. He even became cautious of eating food that's been cooked in the house. But you see, Professor, back then we had no idea about these issues about mental health. So we were wondering, is this old man going crazy? What's wrong with him?
Well, he wasn't going crazy. And with that kind of history, I can tell you what was happening. Most likely, of course, you cannot be 100%. He didn't want to eat the food because he was convinced the food was poisoned. Yes. And the thing at his age is what we call paraphrenia, which, by the way, is very easy to treat, by the way. When he was talking, did you say something about smells?
Yes.
Because he was.
At night he would hear a smell.
Because he was having what we call olfactory hallucinations. Yes. Olfactory hallucination will present exactly like that. And by the way, they smell. They are not pretending.
They are not pretending.
No, they are not pretending. They smell for real. Like if it's like the way you smell strong coffee, or you smell ugali, that is you cook it so that people walking on the road will know there is ugali. That's how real it is to them. They do not pretend. And you see, you as a lay person, you start saying, what's the matter with our dad? What's the matter with and then you start fighting. There's no need to fight. They are unaware.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it possible then, in a situation where you don't know what's happening, and now the children looking at the parents, is it possible for children to pick some of these character traits? Because your parent is behaving in a certain way, they have a mental health issue, but they're not aware.
Well, yes. I think, yes, you are right. Which underlies the importance of people recognizing this.
Yes.
Because children, there are people who tell you, I beat my wife because my father used to beat my mother. They have been socialized that way.
Yes.
I'm doing this, there's nothing wrong, my father used to do it. Or my mother used to do it, or something like that. So yes, through socialization, because that is the only thing that they know, and they think is a normal way of doing things. They don't realize that it could be a problem. And so information is really necessary, and that information, as far as I'm concerned, should go all the way down to the family level, so that every member of that family can recognize some mild or even severe mental illness present in a very subtle way, like somebody smelling food or smelling or thinking the food is poisoned. And they go to great lengths when they do this, and especially if they attribute it to the people in the family. It's like you have food on the table, somebody thinks somebody within the family is poisoning the food. So when you say, let's close our eyes, we say grace, he is busy there changing food. Where you poison this one, where cola mwenyewe. that's exactly what is happening. And they know for sure, they are convinced that is happening. And there's no way you can tell them, convince them that it is not happening. Yes, you can do counseling, but you must be very careful, because you don't want to give people the impression that they are imagining, because they are not imagining. It's real to them.
I think that's the hardest part to understand.
Yes.
Because for the person on this other side, even for them, they're thinking, no one has put anything in your food.
Yes.
As we can't hear that smell.
Yes.
So as real as it is to them,
Yes.
it is also real to me that it's not there.
Yes.
And I think
yes.
that's what brings in the confusion.
That's what brings in the confusion. They will say, this person is pretending.
Yes.
He's hearing voices, and he say people are talking about us or talking about him, and we don't. There was a guy, it's a real story, by the way. It happened here in Kenya, where this person was so convinced that the neighbors were talking about him.
Okay.
Yeah, and they couldn't understand why their son was blaming the neighbors. But because they wanted to be supportive of the father, or they wanted to know the truth, they kept on buying more powerful microphones to put against the wall next to the partition, so that they could pick those noises, because they thought perhaps it is true, it wasn't happening. They thought perhaps the neighbors are talking about what is happening, and it went on to such an extent that they had to confront the neighbors. Our son is doing this, and he claims that you are the ones who are doing this. Yes. Fortunately, the neighbors were a little bit more informed, and they suggested that the son should see somebody to see what was happening. And it so happened that when they saw, whoever they saw, he was put on treatment, and all of a sudden, he started saying, oh yeah, the neighbors are beginning to are behaving now, because they are not talking about me.
Nowadays, they are not talking about me.
They are not talking about me. And you accept that you don't want to make it a big issue by telling them, I think, giving them the impression that they were mad.
Yeah.
Because that is a height of insult to them, to imply that they are mad.
They're mad.
No, don't do that.
Okay. Professor, our time is up.
We are good.
Thank you very much for your time today.
It's a pleasure.
Awesome. Yes. Our time is up. Thank you so much for being a part of Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei. I hope the conversations that we have been having have been beneficial to you. If you have any comments, any topics you would want us to cover, please feel free to send in a message on our SMS line 20316. Our WhatsApp line is 0786 316 316. Until next week for another episode, do have a great day.
Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.